Hello again, whiskey friends. Welcome back to the Whiskey Riff Lounge. My name's Kelsey. Hey, man, we've got something really fun to do today. We've talked about it on our lives for a little bit about doing Dusty versus new, what I like about Dusties, what I like about the new versions of themselves, and kind of the price ranges between the two, and is it worth it? So let's jump into it and get this started right now. All right, guys, thanks and welcome back. So today we're going to be talking some of my favorite products anyway, Turkey. So this is a 2004, this is what it looks like, Russell's Reserve 10. Now, you've heard of the Russell's Reserve 10 for a while. Now, this one is right at 101 proof, so it's a little bit different as far as the proof point of Russell's being. This one is a 10-year-old. They range. The new ones kind of look like this on the front. They also range in age and warehouse. This one is Tyrone Q, which is, let's see, 9 years old. So it's roughly the same age, not quite, a little bit like 9 year and 7 months or something like that. So pretty close. Again, this particular Dusty is 101 proof. So this is kind of like if you took, similar to the purple box, I guess, but being at 10 years. But we're going to compare these. I'm going to pour them up first. You guys have talked about Dusties and the differences. We'll go over some of that in the video as well. One of the biggest differences that you will see, I believe, is during this time, I believe they were going in at lower entry proof points as well. So they're not watering down as much. Like this one would be around 126, 127, watered down a little bit to 110, or come down to 110 on the proof. Whereas this one may have gone in at 10 and watered down to 101. So all the richness and stuff that's there in this bottle. The other main differences that we always have talked about was the difference in wood. The wood that they were using to make the barrels were older. The ground was more rich. The soil was more rich. All of those types of things. Now, I think Turkey, if I'm right, this was either right before or right after they changed the stills at Turkey's, if I'm right. So if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But this is a 2004 versus 2023. So this is a Tyrone Q pick. This is one of my favorites so far that I've tasted on these lately. This one was a pick that I talked about earlier that's on my list for this year. So left is the 101 proof 10 year. Oh, man. I tell you what, on the nose, guys, this stuff is so much more dense and rich. Just right off the bat, I will say that if you've tasted a lot of Dusties, there are some vanilla differences that you will notice consistently with Dusty bottles. I'm not really sure what that is. I haven't really nailed that down, but there is something on the nose with vanilla that is way different versus today's. Let's go to today's Russell's Reserve Tyrone Q. So this is actually, Q for me on the regular stuff is usually kind of darker and richer, but this actually comes off brighter than this Dusty. So there's a different fruit notes going on, where this is a little bit more confectionery sugar on the new stuff. This has a little bit more vanilla and a little bit more oak and caramel to it on the nose. So let's go to the palate and check this out. Oh my God. So you get all this rich, dense vanilla and oak and caramel, however you want to say it. Right off the bat, Then you get the spice in the middle of the palate. and then finish again with the oak. So it's a really different flavor punch, even at 101. Again, this is my first whiskey of the day. It's like 5 o'clock, so I'm safe. Um, let's go into the Q. The Q, like I said, is a little bit brighter on the nose, a little bit more confectionery type of sugars, like maybe sweet tarts or something like that. Smarties. That's what I'm looking for. That's the note I'm looking for. Smarties. But it's just a little bit brighter. There's not quite as much oak. Obviously, it's a little bit younger, but it's not drastically younger. Let's go on the palate. Boy, both of these are really, really good in their own way. Surprisingly, on the palate, they're more similar than I thought that they would be. I have never done these side by side together until just now. Real rich up front and very viscous. A lot is carrying over, I think, from what I just tasted, but I will say this one does really have a similar profile, surprisingly. Let me take a sip of this one again. Yeah, this is really, really good. Don't get me wrong, I love this bottle. But this Dusty is so much more rich in flavor. So again, here's the main differences that you can always count on. For me, at least in my experience, my opinion, people, you're going to find a richer, more dense profile, more a viscous profile due to the soil, due to the wood that tree was grown in, and its age is probably a lot older. Seasoning process was probably a little bit longer. There wasn't such a supply demand type of thing going on for barrels that is like there is now. And the barrel entry proof, which is one that was brought up on our last live regarding Dusties or older whiskey. They're going in at a lower entry proof on a lot of stuff. I will do a little bit more research and repost on this as far as whether or not they were going in at a lower proof point on this particular year in 2004. But I mean, this is 21, 22 years old, something like that. I can't math right now because I'm drinking, but you get the point. I mean, it hasn't been like 80 years ago. It's relatively within a couple of decades of what this is going to be that I'm tasting right now. So one more time on this one. You get a little bit more baking spices, a little bit more apple. Like I said, it's a little bit brighter profile than this one. Well, it's interesting if you taste the Q against another one of the newer ones, the Q comes across darker. So kind of an interesting thing. I will say, being that this is 110 proof and this is 101, I don't sense a lot of difference for the proof point. It's interesting that this doesn't drink its proof point to being at 110. So thank you guys for hanging out. We're going to do a little bit more of this going forward, but also I'm going to be doing a video called Finding Your Turkey Profile. We're going to go through all of the newer rick houses and things like that to kind of give some basic profiles. Obviously, it can change from floor to floor, but a general idea of what particular rick houses taste like what, and line that up with your flavor profile. So we're going to be going through probably maybe 20, 25 different rick houses and floors. So I'm going to give you guys an upcoming view of what's ahead. Make sure you guys check us out on Wednesday nights. We're live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, if you can ever taste some Dusty Turkey, it is definitely well worth the pour. Price differences from these are pretty great. I will say, you're looking at $75 versus $375 to $400 for this particular one. And this is not that old. So there is a large difference in price point. I get that. But there is a large difference in flavor too. So that's your budget, it's your profile. But I would encourage you, if you find somebody or if you find a bar out where you can taste some Dusty stuff, whether it's Turkey or some other brand, I would encourage you to do so, just so that you can kind of get used to something a little bit different that they were doing. And the more that you taste, the more you know, you can be helping other people explore and have fun and enjoy sharing whiskey. So, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. We'll catch you next time right here on Hello Again, Whiskey Friends from the Whiskey Ridge Lounge.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello.